Well done. Well, I hope you're like me, really enjoying these presentations. So my story is a little about inspiration when I needed it most. That's me growing up on the New Jersey shore in the 1960s. My life revolved around playing basketball, driving my very cool 1940 Packard, and of course I went to high school with the idea that I wanted to go to college. My special passion, however, was sailing. I raced 12 months a year, always with the goal of getting better. In May 1970, as a freshman at the New York Maritime College, an important event was coming up, the Mid-Atlantic Championships. The top two teams would qualify for the Nationals. Putting in this perspective, May 4th, that week, we had a horrific event at Kent State when 4 protesters were killed by National Guard troops. For me, I was more interested at the time in basketball. Madison Square Garden at that time had a policy: if you showed up at the back door wearing a military uniform, they'd find you a nosebleed seat. My father counseled me to give that usher a very generous tip. I think I gave him $3. My goal was to watch the Knicks playing in Game 7 of the NBA championship. In 1970, there were great players that all worked as a team. The usher took me into the stadium, and I ended up sitting next to Dustin Hoffman, the Hollywood actor, behind the bench of the New York Knicks. There I was, my beloved team, listening to them, talking about their strategy during the timeouts. Special. And as it turned out, the New York Knicks won the game. Team captain Willis Reed was injured for the past 2 games, but he made a surprise entrance, and he inspired his team. And after the game, somehow Dustin Hoffman and I went running with the team right into the locker room. That's me with the short hair and the uniform, listening to Howard Cosell doing interviews on ABC. I walked around getting autographs, and little did I know I'd have my own television career a little bit later. The autographs, I have them all, including Dustin Hoffman with a very appropriate peace symbol there. The Knicks represented the ultimate in sports. And needless to say, after all that inspiration, I went to the Mid-Atlantic Championship, and I was in the top 3, 8 out of 10 races, qualifying for the Nationals, which at the time was very hard for a freshman. Nice. Now, let's fast forward 33 years. I'm laying in a hospital bed at the University of Maryland Medical Center going through a bone marrow transplant. It was horrible. The lymphoma had wrecked my body, and I was depressed, and I didn't think I was going to survive. Horrible. My wife Janice was with me every step of the way, and it was a question whether the transplant would work. I was slipping away. But one day, a nurse walks into my room, sees me laying there, not moving at all, and she says, "We got to get you sitting up." So I sit up, and she turns on the TV, and there's the game. 7 from the NBA championship. It was the Knicks versus the LA Lakers. And once again, the Knicks won. I forgot about my disease and illness and concentrated on that game. And that moment, when the Knicks won, I resolved that I'm not done with this lymphoma. I'm going to battle it and come back. The depression went away. So I don't know why I came on TV at that time, but it sure made a difference. Several years later, I got to sail with Walt Frazier, the lead guard of the Knicks, and he had an inspiring comment there. Your admirer, Walt Clyde Frazier. He was my hero, and I guess I was his hero in sailing. Back to the locker room. I'm 6'2", and look how big Willis Reed is. And I learned from these players to be polite to everybody. I was impressed with them, and as I got known in sailing, I followed his example. Today, my health is fine. Every day I wake up and say thank you for another day, and I'm back out on the water. I resolved during my illness that if I ever recovered, I would serve other people. My service today includes being chair of the board of Anne Arundel Medical Center, president of the National Sailing Hall of Fame, being on the board of our governing sport, and working with CB Trust to improve our environment. All very important work. Serving others certainly can be challenging, but nothing is more challenging than battling cancer to save your life. I'm amazed that during my low point in my entire life, when I needed a boost, my experience with the New York Knicks and that following reminded me that you can be strong when you need it. So today, I get to enjoy time with my wife of 44 years, 3 daughters, their 3 husbands, 4 grandchildren, all so I could be here with you tonight. Thank you very much.